Welcome to UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna Blasi. I'm Dr. Jenna. I spent years crafting ways to help women thrive, and I want to help you do the same. On this podcast, we dive deep into health at every level, focusing on the mind, the body, and the spirit. This is where real conversations meet transformational wellness. We'll be talking about all the things that truly matter, from nutrition and fitness to lifestyle, mindset, and personal development. Plus, the real deal on managing stress and navigating menopause. So if you're ready to elevate your health journey with authentic, transformative insights, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna Blasi. I'm Dr. Jenna, practicing a new hoarse radio voice for today. There have been a variety of interesting and fun things that have happened recently that have led to me losing my voice. So hopefully you can all understand me regardless of my raspiness today, because we are going to talk about how to really build momentum with healthy habits for an amazing 2025. So we talked about vision, and I hope you all created a really big vision that you are excited about. And I touched also on that why and the processes and why that's so important. And today we're going to go into discipline and consistency, because consistency and persistence are absolutely key to your success, and discipline is where it all begins. And a lot of people I hear say over time, I'm not disciplined, and we need to change our story. I'm not motivated. I hear that a lot. So we're going to dive into what does that really mean, and how do we build momentum to have healthy habits for the best 2025? What I want for you all is that this year's the game changer. When you look back on the results that you've had so far, are you where you want to be? Don't set yourself up for another year of ups and downs. Don't set yourself up for another year of getting to the end of the year and going, I'm still in the same place. I'm still tired. I still don't have habits that I want to have. I'm still not in good health. We have to decide what we really want. How much do we really want it? And then nothing's going to stop us. Just like when something happens to their pets or their kids, and they're like, nothing is stopping me from helping this person or this being that I love. Do that for yourself, because we have to put our own oxygen mask on first. If we're not feeling well, we can't be there for the people that matter in our lives. And that's why I do what I do, as you all have heard me say, because I know when we have our health, which I know it sounds like I don't right now, but when we have our health, we can fully be there for all the things that light us up. And so look at anything amazing you've accomplished in your life, and look at the habits and the discipline and the commitment and the consistency that allowed you to have that. Anyone who's gone through schooling, we had to be disciplined to study. We had to be disciplined to show up when we were tired, to do the work. I remember studying for my board exams when I was in naturopathic medical school, and pharmacology was a really big final, because we had like 14 or however many subjects to cover in our board exams. And when I was studying for pharmacology, I got really sick. And so the amount of bandwidth that I had, but I had to show up. And everything that I'd done up until that point, even though that was, I think, as I recall, a harder subject for me, it adds up, right? The habits stack. And so what we're going to talk about today, and what I want you to expect, are actionable steps for creating habits, for staying disciplined and maintaining consistency to achieve success in 2025. And I'm talking success beyond your wildest dreams. Like, let's make it big, but let's also make it actionable so you can get there. What is one thing, if you changed it, that would completely change your 2025? Right? If you went the whole year and you got to the end of 2025 and you'd been exercising regularly, or you'd been practicing mindfulness, or you'd been meditating, or you'd been doing self-care, or whatever it is, what is the change that you can start now? Now, we're into our first full week of January when this is being recorded. I don't know when you're listening to it, but it's something that we want to really commit to, because I don't want for you the resolutions for the new year that fade, right? I'm talking about the power of habits that stack over time. Small, repeated actions form the foundation, right? Success is just a series of small wins stacked up. And so these habits that we have, they matter. They matter. And so many of us get into a mindset of all or nothing. You're doing the things 100% or you're not doing them at all. We've got to shift that mindset, because that's a recipe for failure. If we're all or nothing, we're on or we're off, right? Oh, I'll start on Monday. So let me eat this entire cake right now because I'm starting on Monday. So every action that we take is a vote for the person you want to become. So when you created your vision, I want you to look ahead. Who do you want to be? What are the choices that that person would make? What are the habits that that person would have? How is that person thinking? I'm going to tell you right now, it's not how you think now. We cannot get to where we want to go from who we are now. That's not where the growth is. And so if we continue to make the same decisions from the same mindset, from the same BS personal story, nothing is going to shift, or at least nothing transformative. All right. If you have a story in your head, I'm not motivated, or I always start and stop things, I release weight, but then I gain it back, we've got to change that story. We've got to change that story, because we can't outperform our self-image. We cannot outperform our self-image. And so our habits are going to shape our identity. Every time you get back up and you try again, that's shaping your identity. And so you're building confidence. And then we have a compound effect, right? Small habits lead to big results over time. If you look at anybody that's fit and healthy, it's because they are consistent over time. Are they perfect? 100% no. Are they always doing all the right things? No. But they're consistent and they keep at it. And also, when we actually start to have these positive behaviors and they compound over time and it starts to become more of who we are, we're actually decreasing decision fatigue, because we're automating positive behaviors, right? We're not waking up in the morning and arguing with ourselves if we're going to work out that day or not. I often use the analogy of, like, do you argue with yourself about brushing your teeth? Even if you're tired, you just do it, right? And so we can do lots of different things that will add up over time, right? Daily journaling, or a 10-minute walk, or removing processed foods from the bulk of our diet. Whatever we choose, this can begin to transform our mindset and our physical health. All right, so I want you to think of one game-changing habit and write it down. What is a game-changing habit? It could also be a game-changing personal identity. These could go together, right? And I want you for 2025, right? So what is that one thing? And write it down. This is where the discipline comes from. All right. Motivation, when people say I'm not motivated, motivation's fleeting, right? If we're waiting for motivation, but there's no magic fairy that comes and sprinkles motivation dust on those of us that get it done versus those that don't. It's the discipline. The difference between discipline and motivation is, discipline is we're going to do it anyway. It's a mindset. Discipline starts in our minds. We're committing to showing up even when we don't feel like it, right? Motivation is fleeting. As I've said before, I'm not always motivated to exercise, and I really like exercising. I taught fitness classes for years. Did I always want to do it? Was I always motivated? No, but I'm committed. And so we commit to showing up even when you don't feel like it. That is the difference between a successful person and someone who's not successful. So, how do we build discipline? I want to go upstream for a moment. How we build discipline initially is having a picture of where we want to be. What do we want and why do we want it? I talked about the processes, right, being really important, but the why comes first before the processes. You have to have a really strong why. Like I said, the cookie's going to win. Honestly, if it's just about fitting in your clothes, because in that moment, it's like, oh my gosh, that looks really good. But when the why is something that really drives you, and that when you look at all the aspects of the why, right, and how you want to live your life and how you want to feel, are you at the place now going into 2025? Are you willing to pay the price to become who you want to be? Because there's a price to pay, right? There's pain in both. There's pain in staying the same and feeling like crap and not becoming the person we want to be and not having what we want. And there's pain in changing our diet, in getting up when it's dark and cold and exercising, in developing a new habit. Which pain outweighs the other? Because that's what's going to win. And so the why is behind that. When your why for feeling good begins to outweigh your why for all of the excuses of why it's easier to stay the same. Someone actually said that to me on one of my webinars. They said, it's just easier not to change. And I know it can feel that way, but do you know it takes as much energy to stay the same as it does to change? It's just where you put your energy. Which one do you want? Feeling like crap takes a lot of energy, right? Like decision fatigue, being indecisive as a person takes a lot of energy. Did it take me a lot of focus and determination to become a more decisive person? Yes, it took work. That was a price that I was willing to pay, and I'm continually willing to pay it because I know the success that comes with quick decisions. I know the success and the energy that comes with trusting myself enough to make decisions quickly rather than being indecisive. So where's your pain? Where's your energy? And which one matters more, right? And so have that vision of how you want to feel and how you want to live. Have that really strong why. Why do you want to feel good? I've often talked about, like, I don't get up in the morning and exercise for my kids and my family per se, but I do in the sense that I'm an older mom. I had my kids later in life and they want to play laser tag at 8 o'clock at night. And when I take them to Disneyland, we're like hopping on Space Mountain at 11 o'clock at night. Like, we're shutting the park down. If I didn't feel well, I couldn't do that with them. So I do keep myself fit. For myself, yes, because my day is better, but also for my family. And so get your vision, get your why, and then fall in love with the processes. When we fall in love with the processes, then it's not all or nothing. It's not, oh, I ate the cake, so forget it, because you're going to get back up. All right. So strategies for building discipline. First, understand that mindset's important and that motivation is not going to magically happen. It comes from wanting something and deciding that we're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. We are willing to do whatever it takes to get it, okay? And I'm talking, within safety, right? If someone wants to face their fear of skydiving, then they have to be willing to jump out of a plane, right? That's not a fear that I necessarily think that I want to, that's important to me to overcome. But if it were, and maybe it will be someday, I don't know, then I got to get on that plane and I got to jump out. So what's the price we're willing to pay? Are we willing to do it? Do we want what we want badly enough? So strategies for building discipline, that's the upstream strategy, okay? How do I want to live? What would healthy, calm, intentional, present me, X number of months in the future do, say, or think? And then we want to start small and stay consistent. And what I mean by that, I don't mean start small with your vision. I don't mean start small with where you want to be at the end of 2025. But I mean, don't overwhelm yourself. You're not exercising at all. Don't start with 5 days a week for an hour, right? Commit to maybe 5 minutes of your new activity. Track your progress. Okay, so 2 big things for building discipline. I'm going to say 3. Back it up. 3. The mindset. I'm going to do this. It's worth it to me. And then pick what's manageable. When we went through those pillars of health, what I often see is, like, let's say somebody wants to add meditation in, they feel like they need to do a half an hour or an hour every day. And so they do nothing. Start with 3 to 5 minutes a day, right? It's like you're not going to jump into an exercise routine and pick up the heaviest weights. You're going to start with weights that you can do, and then you're going to build over time. Okay. And so start small and stay consistent. Put it on your calendar. Like I've said, right? We know it's important to you. If it's in your calendar, stop negotiating with yourself, right? Stop negotiating. Oh, maybe today I don't need to. And then, so the mindset piece, the figuring out what you're going to do, and then setting up how often you're going to do it. If you're going to exercise 3 times a week for 10 minutes, right? Pick something that you will stay consistent with and track your progress. What we measure, we can manage. Track your progress. There's so many great apps today. You can use a journal. You can use a simple checklist. I think you all have heard me mention, I track on my phone my daily meditation, my exercise. I'll log my rest days if it's a rest day. I track that, and I have for years, and I do those things daily for decades now, but I still put it in. It just keeps me accountable. I like to see it. I go back and look. If I've been sick or I've taken some extra rest, I go back and look and I can see, what did I do leading up to it? Did I overdo it? Is that why I'm not feeling as well? And it helps me stay disciplined. All right. So remember, discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Right? The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And I really cannot stress enough the importance of going upstream with your mindset and stop feeding yourself negative thoughts of why you can't do something, and really change your identity, because that's going to help you stay disciplined. Celebrate, reward yourself for your milestones. You hit them, great, reward yourself. If somebody is, when I talk to people I work with, I do coaching as well for mindset. And again, we can get success financially in our health and our fitness and our relationships. And sometimes we have to celebrate the success in our mind. Like if someone's going for financial abundance and the money isn't in the physical realm just yet for them, it's like, well, spend it in your brain, spend it in your head. We want to celebrate the wins, reward yourself for the milestones, start training yourself for success. At the end of the day, let's say you committed to exercise and you didn't. Look at the day, ask yourself what happened. Why didn't you do it? And we're going to talk about how to stay consistent here, but right now I'm just looking at discipline. And then make a decision. You're going to be better the next day. Don't beat yourself up. Just look and go, what happened? Why didn't I keep my commitment to myself? So you're going to be out of integrity, out of alignment. Okay, what can I do differently tomorrow? And then right before bed, celebrate as if you did it. Training yourself that you are successful, that you are meeting your goals. So whatever your daily goal was, just celebrate it as if it happened. Imagine that you did the exercise and you did, and you can celebrate it truly. But let's say you didn't. Whatever your goals were, celebrate them right before bed as if you did, because you're training your subconscious, you're training your body to be conditioned for success. Okay, so again, discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, but it starts in our mind. And that's why we want to celebrate those wins. We want to reward our milestones, and we want to celebrate them, even if we didn't at the end of each day, rather than beating ourselves up, because beating ourselves up is actually going to lead to more all or nothing mentality. Consistency. Consistency creates success. All right. Why is it key? It builds momentum. It builds your confidence and your belief in yourself. Success grows when we keep showing up. And then we develop resilience. Over time, consistency becomes our default. For most of us, this is where we really, the discipline and the consistency piece is where we just kind of throw our hands in the air, right? Where we say, oh, I'm not disciplined, and then we're inconsistent. So start telling yourself, I am disciplined. Be the person you want to be. Now, I am disciplined. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm a disciplined person, gets up every day and exercises regularly and makes healthy food choices or whatever affirmations. I'm a big fan of affirmations, and we can talk about why that is at a different time. But we're going to develop resiliency, because every action is, again, a vote for the person we want to become or a vote against who we want to become. It's like, imagine you have a savings and an account, and every time you do the habit, you're putting into the savings account. And if you're never putting in and you're always just taking out, you're not going to have what you need in that account when you need it. So some practical tips for staying consistent: use habit stacking. When people say I'm not disciplined, I'll say, well, do you make coffee every morning? Do you brush your teeth every day? Do you get up and go to work even when you don't want to? Like, we're all disciplined, but so let's start to put it towards the thing that we want. We're all disciplined in something. My husband often says he's not disciplined, but he makes his coffee every day. And so you can habit stack. Okay, when I make my coffee, I'm going to grab my journal and do 5 minutes of journaling or personal development or gratefulness work. Habit stack on something you're already doing. All right. Pair a new habit with an existing routine. A great book of how to develop habits is Atomic Habits. Okay, just by I think it's James Clear. Atomic Habits is a really great book. I also like The Miracle Equation, which talks about all of the keys to really being consistent. But Atomic Habits gives really practical steps for things like habit stacking. Okay, and so We also want to plan ahead. So habit stacking. So here's I'm just reviewing practical tips for staying consistent. Habit stacking and celebrating that you're already disciplined. And how can you add on? Planning ahead. Set reminders on your phone. Create a no excuse environment. Get your fitness clothes out the day before. Get the crap out of your pantry. Don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. If you have a fitness plan, okay, I'm gonna exercise 3 times a week for X amount of time. What exactly are you gonna do? Which day and time are you gonna do it? Put it in there and have a plan for any possible obstacle. You know yourself. You know what sabotage habits you have. What sabotages you? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Is it rain? Is it darkness? And then plan for that. Plan ahead. Okay, I'm going to walk on Thursday mornings for an hour. What if it's raining or snowing? Okay, what's your backup plan? So we want to plan ahead, set reminders, and create a no excuse environment. We're either getting results or we're getting excuses, right? We can't have both. We're not going to make excuses and get results. All right. We have to choose. Again, it's a commitment, it's a decision. Make a decision today. This is going to be a no excuse year. I'm setting up a no excuse environment. I'm done with my own BS and I'm going to be and become the person that I want to be and have the habits that I want and the life that I want. All right. Anything that we have now in our lives is because we committed to it and we wanted it enough to stay committed. If you're in a healthy relationship, it's because you keep showing up. It's because you're consistent, right? And you're disciplined in maybe choosing your battles. You don't any person who has a successful relationship, you don't pick all the battles, right? You choose them. So I encourage you, hop on social media and share with us, your consistency wins because we can help each other as well. And you absolutely can do it. I promise you, if one person can do it, you can do it too. You can make decisions that are not from where you are now, but from who you really want to be until that becomes your norm. And then we up level. And then what's the next bigger and better version of yourself and your life? Okay. So recapping, habits form the foundation for your success, and discipline is the driver of that. And consistency is what keeps us on track. But we do still have to go upstream. How do you want to live? How do you want to feel if we sat down at the end of 2025 and you said, oh my gosh, Dr. Jenna, I am finally thriving. I feel amazing. How did you get there? What would you have done? Because when you're in that moment of wanting to hit the snooze button, when you're in that moment of wanting to give in to choices that you committed to making, tap in to what that future person would do. What would she say? What would she want or he? Right? And then use the resources. Use books, get Atomic Habits on Audible or the hardcover. The Miracle Equation and the Miracle Morning are a little bit smaller if you don't want to read a bigger book. And I want to speak, we're going to close here in just a moment, but I want to speak briefly to, I hear and see a lot of resolutions that are around a lot of food restrictions. A lot of people feel that to be healthy, they have to give up all these foods and all these things. Now, do I encourage us to primarily not eat processed foods? Yes, right? There's certain foods that in general are just not healthy, and we want to keep them at a minimum. You could eliminate them completely from your diet. It depends on where you are and where you've started, right? Like for me, like candy is not something that I'm tempted by. So that's something that I would rarely to never eat, right? But packaged foods from natural grocers or your more, Whole Foods type stores, that would be a processed food that would maybe be 10 or 20% of my diet. I'm not going to say that I'm never going to eat something that comes in a package, right? So, but here's the thing, when we are not feeling well and we feel like, I see a lot of people that come in and they say, well, I feel okay if I don't eat this and this and this and this and this. And they start listing off all these foods, right? We've got to go to the gut. We'll do a whole another podcast on nutrition, but the restrictive diets are not where success lies. They're just not. Is healthy eating where success lies? Of course. But not being able to eat huge categories of food, what I would encourage you is to look at your gut health. Okay. If you are truly lactose intolerant, that's one thing. Or if you truly have celiac disease and can't eat gluten, that's one thing. But all of the food sensitivities, which are rampant in our society and in most of the people we treat, if we heal the gut, the food sensitivities become much fewer, if not gone. And then you can eat those foods in moderation. And some people are reacting to healthy foods. And so finding that balance. So I encourage you, again, that's going upstream, or in this case, down in terms of from our mouth to our gut. Sorry, it's a bad joke. Anyway, our gut, we want to start with the gut because so much begins with that. All right. And so we can delve into this in the future. We also have wellness programs. That's what we do in my practice is we offer comprehensive wellness programs where we take people through that reset. You might need to be restricted for a period of time while you reset your gut, but I encourage you to not look at that as a lifestyle where you're on a scroll of foods that you can't eat, a lifestyle where you take a basket full of supplements to quote unquote stay healthy. I feel like something deeper is not being addressed if you can hardly eat any foods and you need 5,000 supplements, a day. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I have kind of a 5 supplement rule. If long term you're on more than 5 things, then maybe something deeper hasn't been addressed. All right. There's always outliers to this. I understand if you have a very serious health condition that you might need to be a little stricter. That's why I talked about in one of my previous episodes, maybe then you're 90% or 10%, where you're not totally on point versus 80-20. And so go upstream with everything, because when we go upstream, that's when we really transform. We get to the root cause. All right. What's the root cause of your discipline? Is it your self-image? Is it your self-worth? Is it a mindset piece? Is it giving into everything and everyone around you? Most of us, we set these goals and then we end up settling. Don't settle. I want 2025 to be the year that you are so proud of and you are so happy with, and you finally achieve things that you had maybe given up on or didn't think were possible. So if you're interested in looking at working with us in the wellness programs where we take you through the journey of the reset with that kind of support and mentorship, then you can reach out to my office. But I hope you found this super helpful. And there are so many tools out there to help support you on this journey. So again, I invite you to choose one identity based behavior, one habit. Those could go together. Commit to that disciplined action and track it. Track it for consistency. Start with 30 days. I like 90 days. But depending on where you are, start with 30 and then stack another 30 and then stack another 30. And let's rock this year. Let's make this year amazing. And so thanks so much for listening. Again, I'm Dr. Jenna Blasi, and this is UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk. I'm so grateful for all of you that have tuned in to listen or watching us. Encourage you to share with your friends and family. If you loved it, leave us a review, subscribe, and remember, you have everything it takes to make 2025 your most successful year yet. It is within you. You have it. You can do it. We are here to support you on this journey, and I can't wait to hear about your wins. Please share them with us, and look forward to next time. Thanks so much, and happy New Year. Take care. Thank you for joining me on this episode of UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your health journey, one that nourishes not just your body, but your mind and spirit as well. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's episode, please leave a review. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving. And remember, true wellness is a journey, and you are on the right path.